An abandoned hospital, once a bustling center for healing, now a decaying relic of its former self. This hospital was known for its state-of-the-art facilities and dedicated staff. However, a mysterious outbreak led to its sudden closure. Years after its abandonment, rumors began to spread. People who ventured near the hospital at night reported hearing blood-curdling screams and wails. One particular story stands out. A group of urban explorers decided to spend the night inside the hospital, hoping to capture evidence of the paranormal. As they set up their cameras and began their investigation, the atmosphere grew increasingly oppressive. Suddenly, they heard a faint, agonized scream echoing through the empty halls. They followed the sound, leading them to the old surgical ward. There, they witnessed a shadowy figure of a nurse, seemingly tending to invisible patients. The figure moved methodically, as if performing medical procedures. Terrified, the group tried to leave but found that every exit they attempted was inexplicably locked. Panic set in as the temperature plummeted. One explorer managed to capture the ghostly nurse on camera before they finally escaped at dawn. The footage shows a translucent figure in a nurse's uniform, her face twisted in an expression of eternal sorrow. To this day, no one knows the true cause of the outbreak or why the hospital remains haunted by its past. An abandoned school, once filled with the laughter and learning of children. Decades ago, a tragic fire broke out during a school play, leading to the deaths of several students and a beloved teacher. The school never recovered from the tragedy and was eventually closed. Local legends tell of strange occurrences in the empty halls. One chilling account comes from a security guard assigned to patrol the area at night. The guard, a skeptic of the supernatural, initially dismissed the rumors as nonsense. One night, while making his rounds, he heard the faint sound of children laughing and playing. Curious, he followed the sound to the old auditorium. There, he was shocked to see ghostly figures of children reenacting the fateful school play. The air was thick with the smell of smoke and burning wood, as if the fire were happening all over again. The guard stood frozen in terror as the spectral teacher appeared, her face a haunting mask of sorrow. She seemed to lock eyes with him, and in that moment, he felt an overwhelming sense of guilt and despair. The vision faded as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving the guard shaken and convinced of the school's haunting. Since that night, the guard refused to work there again, and the school remains abandoned, a silent witness to the tragic events that left an indelible mark on its history. In an old abandoned factory, once a thriving center of industry, the factory was known for producing high-quality goods, but a series of unexplained accidents led to its closure. Workers began to speak of a curse that plagued the building, but these stories were dismissed as mere superstition. One evening, a former employee named Tom decided to explore the factory. He had always been skeptical of the so-called curse, and wanted to prove that there was nothing to fear. As he wandered through the dusty, dilapidated halls, he began to feel an unsettling presence. Tom reached the factory floor, where the machinery lay silent and rusting. Suddenly, he heard the sound of metal clanging and machines whirring to life. Startled, he turned to see shadowy figures working the machines, their faces obscured. The air grew heavy with the scent of burning oil and metal. As Tom watched in horror, one of the figures turned towards him. Its face was a ghastly, twisted mask of pain and rage. The figure began to move closer, its eyes burning with an unnatural light. Panicking, Tom stumbled backward, but the figure kept advancing. Just as the ghostly worker reached out to grab him, Tom managed to find an exit and ran out of the factory, never looking back. He later learned that the figure he saw matched the description of a worker who had died in a horrific accident many years ago. Since that night, Tom has never doubted the existence of the curse and warns others to stay away from the factory. The building remains abandoned, a silent monument to the tragedies that unfolded within its walls. A grand, abandoned mansion, once the home of a wealthy family. The mansion was renowned for its lavish parties and opulent decor. However, tragedy struck when the entire family mysteriously disappeared one night, leaving the mansion to decay over the years. Local legends claim that the spirits of the family still haunt the mansion. One such story comes from a group of thrill seekers who decided to spend a night in the mansion, hoping to encounter its ghostly inhabitants. As they explored the mansion, they noticed strange phenomena: cold spots, whispering voices, and flickering lights. One of the thrill seekers, Sarah, felt a sudden chill as she entered the grand ballroom. There, she saw the apparition of a woman in an elegant gown, seemingly waiting for a dance partner. Sarah's friends were equally unnerved as they witnessed the grand dining hall's long table set for a feast, with ghostly figures seated around it. The air was filled with the faint sound of clinking glasses and muted conversation, as if a spectral dinner party were taking place. The most terrifying moment came when they ascended the grand staircase. The walls seemed to close in on them, and they heard a child's laughter echoing through the halls. At the top of the stairs, they encountered the ghostly figure of a young boy, his eyes wide with an unsettling, knowing gaze. Panicked, the group fled the mansion. They later discovered that the boy matched the description of the youngest member of the family who disappeared. To this day, the mansion remains abandoned, its haunted halls a testament to the mysterious fate of its former occupants. An abandoned asylum, once a place of last resort for the mentally ill. The asylum was infamous for its harsh treatments and inhumane conditions. Over the years, many patients died within its walls, and it eventually closed down amidst scandal and horror. One of the most disturbing stories comes from a former nurse who worked at the asylum. She recalled a particularly violent patient named Samuel, who was known for his fits of rage. Samuel's condition worsened, and he was often confined to a padded cell. After the asylum's closure, the nurse returned to retrieve some personal items. As she walked through the decaying halls, she felt an oppressive presence. Reaching Samuel's old cell, she was overwhelmed by a sense of dread. The air was thick with the smell of antiseptic and decay. Suddenly, she heard a familiar, enraged scream. Looking through the small window of the cell, she saw Samuel's ghostly figure thrashing about, his face twisted in a mask of fury and anguish. His spectral form seemed to relive his torment over and over again. Terrified, the nurse fled the asylum, leaving her belongings behind. She later reported the encounter to her colleagues, who confirmed that many had experienced similar sightings. To this day, the asylum remains a dark, foreboding place, haunted by the tortured souls of its former patients.